Hello and welcome to my video blog. My name's Jeff. I normally do silly videos just to amuse myself or try and give my friends a laugh. But today there's something that's been concerning me. Uh, the older I get, the more it concerns me. Our politicians in the UK, they are becoming increasingly unaccountable and don't answer and avoid any accountability whatsoever. So I would like to pose a question today. Do we actually need politicians? In my view, we don't. Um, I would like to try and stick to the facts and not have a political. I do have my own political opinions, but I would rather just stick to the facts. So it doesn't matter which side of the divide you're on, left, right, or centre. Really doesn't matter. I think this affects all of us, and I think we need to do something about it. So, to pose the question, do we need politicians? I think the first thing you've got to ask yourself is, what is a politician? What do they do? Um, and as far as I can see, yes, they make decisions, um, acting on the best advice of advisors, because politicians are just talkers. That's all they do, they talk. And they try and persuade us to think and support the way that they think to their own political ends, whether it be left or right or anywhere in the middle. So the politicians are um, they're basically just a mouthpiece. Um, they have no real qualifications other than talking and lying as well. They do tend to tell it or distort the truth, to say the least, or evade the truth. But what do they actually do? They talk. That's it. They have no qualifications. Some of them are brought up to think that they should rule the country and sent to schools that suggest that and teach them to rule the country, and that doesn't strike me as democracy either. When people are expected to become leaders of a country. I thought it was up to the people to vote. What do you think? So, um, what are politicians? Mouthpieces? Nothing much really, are they? So, they have no qualifications to actually run the departments that they run. This is when you get to ministerial level. So, you could have a politician. Well, you do get politicians running the military, the education system, the banking system, everything, every aspect of our lives is run by amateurs. And that's what they are, the amateurs. They haven't spent a lifetime in that particular profession. Let's just say defence. The Minister for Defence goes in and he is advised by people who have spent a career in defence as to what to do. And if it goes against that political party's line, they won't do it anyway, even if the advice, they won't take the advice of people who've done it all their lives. They won't take that experience. Okay, fair enough, they have other things to consider. They do have the cost of it to consider. I'll go into that a little bit later. So, if they've got no qualifications and they're just mouthpieces, you've got to ask, why would you want to be a politician? It's a bit of a thankless job. And the answer is money. It's quite simple. It's money and power. It's like if you went for an interview for the police force, you would be asked, why do you want to join the police force? And the standard answer would be, I want to serve the public. And that's what a politician would tell you. I want to serve the public. Rubbish. They want the money and the power, just as the police want the money, the power, the pensions, the time off. It's what they'll get in it for themselves. I have no gripe with that. Everybody's out for themselves. But I don't think you can have people at the top in the country that are out for themselves. So um, now you've got to, I hope I've established the fact that they're useless and that they're not really required. So how would you get rid of them? Well, the best way to get rid of a politician, or the only way we have at the moment, is every few years we can have an election and elect in another party. But it doesn't change things, even though every election, and watch the next one, look back at the ones in the past, there will be parties, the opposition always say vote for change. Or in the case of the last election with Corbyn, vote for real change. You know, that nothing changes. You end up, if you cast a vote, you end up with a politician. You so you've got to say, wait, the only way to replace them is at a general election. So uh, we need to establish how the change would take place, get people into government that can uh, affect the change and actually bring down the government. Now, I do not want to be a politician. I'm not a politician. I do not want to be a politician. I have nothing to gain from it. But I would support anybody who did it, who wanted to bring down our parliamentary system, which we're told is the best in the world. I have a problem with that as well. It means that they've stopped. Evolution doesn't stop. Nothing stands still. But parliamentary democracy seems to have stood still. Politicians will tell you, because they have a vested interest in it, they will tell you it's the best system in the world. It's the mother of all parliaments. Nothing needs to change. Well, that accepts the fact that even if it's imperfect, we can't improve it. No, that doesn't work either. They're again misleading because of their own personal gain. So how do we change things? We get people into power that will actually vote for a different system. So what would the different system be? That's not so easy, granted, but just as an example, if governments follow the advice available and take this COVID pandemic, we keep hearing the government say we are following the scientific advice. Well, following the science. Well, in that case, let the scientists make the decision. What do you need a politician for? And they certainly don't need to explain it to the public if the scientists know what they're talking about. And if they don't know what they're talking about and they're wrong, well, they should be held to account. So how do you do that? And I would suggest have different committees for different subjects, and the committees made up of experts in their field. Um, Also, with someone who is an expert in finance or part of the budget department, the Treasury, or the Exchequer, to advise as to the costs of these things, because cost does matter in this world. Because we live in a capitalist world and money matters. That's a subject for another video. But yeah, so if we have committees of experts in every field, and to avoid corruption, which you may get businesses, again capitalism, you may get businesses trying to influence decision making and things like that, which should not be allowed, and maybe have one person in the committee, a mole, if you like, someone to look out for corruption and people trying to influence the decision making, and then a heavy penalty for anybody who tries to corrupt the political system. I'm trying to corrupt our parliamentary system, but I think it needs it, which is probably an argument for someone wanting to corrupt the one that I'm suggesting. But it's a basis. I'm not saying it's ideal, but it's something to work on. It's something to improve on. It's something that can evolve. So get rid of the parliamentary system, replace it with a committee-based system where they can be sacked at a day's notice. We don't have to wait for 5 years if they're incompetent or if they make drastically wrong decisions. But that would be, well, the whole committee, because it would have to have the consent of the majority, which is a democracy. And these decisions, important decisions, we live in an age of computers. We can all have a say in it. So every decision can be a democratic decision if we want it to be, or leave it up to the committees in lesser decisions that they can handle. You know, or let the committees make the decisions. If we do not like it, if there's disputes, if they can't get a consensus, then throw it to the public to have a referendum. There's nothing wrong with a referendum. It is a vote of the people. It is the will of the people. So that's one way of replacing our parliamentary democracy and getting rid of our politicians. There's other subjects that I can talk about in the future, which I hope to make a few more videos on my serious side. But the best way to get rid of the politicians, spread the word. I would certainly join any campaign or any group, and hopefully the group would grow bigger, that is set out to change things, get rid of our parliamentary democracy, and get rid of our politicians. So I hope you've liked what I've had to say. I hope you're interested. If you can share it with as many people as possible, the idea, and hopefully it will catch on and become a movement. But don't forget to like and subscribe as well. Like and subscribe as well. And thank you for listening. Take care.